The government's hardline offshore processing regime is facing a High Court challenge. The claim alleges the immigration minister erred on 2 counts by sending an Iranian asylum seeker to Manus Island. If the court action succeeds, the plan to banish all irregular boat arrivals to Papua New Guinea will be in tatters. The move came as Australian authorities went to the rescue of another boat in trouble. This time 106 asylum seekers were saved about 200 kilometres off Christmas Island. 5 people are believed to have drowned. As political editor Chris Uhlmann reports, concerns about asylum seeker arrivals may be high on the list of issues bothering city dwellers in Australia, but they're not front of mind in every corner of the country.
They call it the Wombat Trail. Every federal election, the leader of the Nationals hits the roads less travelled.
Meeting with real people on the streets, to be talking to people about the issues that matter to them.
And there are plenty of problems to solve.
Everything's too expensive.
The major issues that we see affecting our business are reliability of our markets.
Housing. Police and education.
Election time is always a time for everyone to tighten their belts going, oh my God, what's going to happen?
And the Aboriginals still dipping out.
It's definitely a lot slower than it ever has been.
Here, Warren Truss meets some converts.
I've been a Labor voter all my life. You'll be getting my vote. For the very first time ever, I won't be voting Labor because cannot stand Kevin Rudd.
But not everyone on the Wombat Trail votes National.
Yep, go Kevin 07.
Even in his own ultra-safe Queensland seat of Wide Bay.
He could soon be Deputy Prime Minister though.
Oh, I know. It's scary, isn't it?
And everywhere people are pondering the same question.
Who do you vote for? I mean, we've had, in 07 we voted for Kevin Rudd, and then we got Gillard, and she just buggered us, really buggered us. But my concern is, if we get Kevin back in there, is he going to serve like the full term? And does Tony Abbott have the backbone to be a good Prime Minister?
All voters in 150 electorates across Australia will be mulling questions like that over the next 19 days. And some have already cast their ballot. The pre-poll booths open today.
We explain that they can vote if they're going away or they're working on polling day, but otherwise it'll be on the 7th of September.
We came here to vote because we're going overseas in 2 weeks.
In Sydney, the Labor seat of Banks is on a margin of just over 1.5%.
I really think it might go Liberal, do you think?
It might be a change for...
Who knows?
You never know, as I say, you don't know.
We won't know until after 6, that's for sure.
They're all politicians.
Unlike their country cousins, the people of Western Sydney feel the crush of a vast population. Here, there's one issue which has dominated the 3 years leading into this campaign: asylum seekers.
Because they come with no ID, mate. Be a human being, come through proper channels, and I'm happy with it. But to jump the queues, and they are here, nah.
This kind of sentiment put a slew of Labor seats at risk and drove multiple changes in government policy. Last year, Labor backflipped and adopted offshore processing on Papua New Guinea's Manus Island and Nauru.
From this point forward, anybody who comes to Australia by boat runs the risk of being transferred to an offshore processing place.
And a month ago, a reborn Prime Minister went one step further, signing an agreement that consigned all asylum seekers to Papua New Guinea and slamming the door on any possibility of return, even for those found to be genuine refugees.
From now on, any asylum seeker who arrives in Australia by boat will have no chance of being settled in Australia as refugees.
The government points to a slower rate of arrivals since the policy was adopted as a sign the hardline stance is working. But 2,784 people have come on 39 boats. Today, another boat foundered 220 kilometres north of Christmas Island. 106 people were rescued from the water. 2 have minor injuries. Search and rescue operations have been suspended and up to 5 people are feared drowned. Under the government's plan, every one of the people rescued today, along with all boat arrivals since the 19th of July, will eventually be sent to Manus Island. But today, the first legal attempt to challenge that plan was lodged in the High Court.
We act for a man from the Republic of Iran who came to Australia on a boat. He claimed refugee status to Australian authorities, and he was put on transport forcibly against his will and sent to Manus Island in Papua New Guinea, and he's been told that he's going to stay in Papua New Guinea, he'll be taken to the mainland and kept there, and that he's not Australia's problem anymore.
The challenge is to two decisions: to forcibly remove the man seeking refuge indefinitely and to declare Manus Island a regional processing centre to deal with an Australian problem.
It's more than procedurally incorrect. We say that the decision that the Minister made as to Papua New Guinea is deeply flawed, so flawed that it's the subject of what we call jurisdictional error, and that it's not a decision at all, it's a nothing.
A directions hearing is expected soon, and Mark Robinson is hopeful the case will be heard by the full bench.
If it's declared by the court not to be a regional processing centre, then they'll have to do it again and do it lawfully, and that will be difficult, or pass legislation and retrospectively validate everything that they've done wrong, and that would be difficult too.
The government believes its plan is legally watertight.
We're working with Papua New Guinea to make sure that they've got proper procedures for processing, for assessing asylum claims in Papua New Guinea, and I'm not going to foreshadow what I think might be any grounds of challenge. I will say that the government is very confident in the legal basis, the legal foundation for the arrangement that we've struck with Papua New Guinea.
And the Ministers for Immigration and Foreign Affairs are hoping to build on the plan. They've taken time out from electioneering to travel to Indonesia for a regional summit on people smuggling.
There'll be some people who say, well, I'm going to give it a go. There'll be some people who get on board a vessel and take the risk, and there'll be some people who drown in doing so. But for everybody who makes it across to Australia, they will find out that we were exactly serious about the implementation of our policy.
Amid the welter of issues around the nation, Labor knows a large part of its electoral fortune swings on neutralising the Coalition's border protection assault. Having it appear to unwind mid-campaign would be a disaster.
Political editor Chris Yeoman.